Welcome, financial professionals. I'm Brady Serold, Senior Vice President of Disability Income for E4 Insurance Services. Welcome you to the Brew, building relationships every week. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you joining the Brew for the first time, welcome. We'd like to start the Brewcast by celebrating today's national days. Today is National Hamburger Day, which I think is pretty appropriate with the upcoming Memorial Weekend, and then World Passion Fruit Martini Day. So, I guess if you don't have to work on Monday, which I believe most people don't, you might be able to have your hamburger and your passion fruit martini at your family cookout. Just don't have too many of those martinis. We're wrapping up May's lineup focused on disability awareness. Today I'm here with Charlie Seivert, risk advisor and partner at North Risk Partners, to discuss the value of guarantee standard issue. Thanks, Charlie, for joining us here today.
It's an honor to be here, Brady.
Excellent. Well, I know you and I've worked together here the last couple of years. Can you give us a little bit of background of yourself, your experience, kind of what led you into the seat you're currently sitting at North Risk Partners?
Sounds great. Graduated from St. Thomas College. I'm in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. In 1986, I actually interned with a financial service company. And so my little joke is nobody else would hire me, so I ended up in the insurance business.
But that sounds familiar.
But it's been a blessing. I started out my first 3 years of my career working for a financial service company, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I just loved working with all the different advisors, financial advisors, and most of them worked directly with business owners doing things like succession planning or advanced planning for key employees. And I kind of fell in love with it. I was asked about 3 years into my career, they were looking to build out an employee benefit practice. And so I kind of moved into that era of my career. I've been doing this 39 years. And so I've transitioned more into providing employee benefits for small to mid-market clients. And, it's been a great ride. I had my own agency for many, many years up until about August of 2015 and made a decision. I had a lot of different larger organizations that wanted to buy my book of business. And so I made a decision in August of 2015 to sell my agency to where I'm at now, a company called North Risk Partners. We're in 5 different states: Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And I became a partner, so I have some ownership in North Risk Partners. Also serve at different leadership roles. Help build out our employee benefit practice. We have a strategic benefit team, and I'm a sales lead. And I currently also have a pretty nice, sizable book of business. So that's a little bit about my background.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, we love the partnership here at E4 and North Risk. What do you think makes? I mean, I know North Risk been in a growth mode, and what makes you guys successful? I know you kind of have that team specialist approach, and really work together and get the best out of each other. When taking care of clients. So, what do you think makes you guys successful?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, we live in this acquisition world, right? And we typically acquire 2 to 4 agencies, and we're not looking just to acquire anybody. We have our value pyramid, and we have our service model. And one of the things that makes us different is that we have an equity partner over the top of us, and there's about 30 different names, but different North Risk Partners throughout the country, which makes us one of the largest independent agency systems in the country. We have, our core areas of discipline, our employee benefits, commercial lines, and personal lines. And what we've been starting to do and build out is our executive benefits. And so we can't do that. We can't do that alone, and that's one of the reasons why we established this partnership with E4. But everybody talks about service, right? So we're large enough to give our clients options But if you look at our footprint, we have over 25 offices in Minnesota, and then we have offices scattered out through Nebraska, Iowa, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So we have a lot of boots in the ground. And when we look at our service model, what kind of makes us tick is service to our clients, and equally as important, service to each other. And I would say the internal relationships that we have with our teammates, but even our external partnerships with even like E4, we can't do it alone, right? And so I would say that service is a big component to what makes us different. And we do things like, not only do we make promises, but we commit them to service agreements. We put them in writing. We ask our clients to hold us accountable. But I would say service, without a question, is kind of what makes us tick.
Excellent. And clearly, we've partnered with you guys as well. And, how do you view and, bringing in, and, where does E4 and, then obviously myself, I know, we've talked about some things, and, last week we had, or, it's been released today, but we have a brew going out on underwriting. I mean, and I know that's not really your bailiwick, and maybe it was sometime in the past. So what kind of ideas are brought to the table in viewing the partnership and working with us together, and how do you view that? And then I guess what sort of sales ideas that have kind of hit you in the last I guess 18 months, 2 years that we've been working together?
Yep. Yeah. No, great question. And I should probably elaborate a little bit on our relationship too between Northwest Partners and E4, and maybe even speak more specific to the question that you asked, Brady. But so we dabbled. I think we've been working with E4. Brady has been 3-4 years for sure, and we dabbled in trying to help our clients with buy-sell agreements. Providing the right funding arrangements, but within the organization, it wasn't our bread and butter, for lack of a better word. And so we had a choice: either build it out internally, which we made the decision not to. And we just felt it was really important to surround ourselves with an organization like E4 that had it. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. That's what E4 does. They're a great partner. And from my perspective, I do employee benefits. I'm a benefit consultant. We have all the information. We have information like census information. We certainly understand the benefits that we make available to our clients and their employees. But oftentimes, specific to just one particular area is, oftentimes we look at probably the most discriminated workers with our clients are the people that take the risk. So if we look at the business owners and we look at the key employees, sometimes their level of benefits aren't the same as I hate to use the word, but a rank and file employee. And so we want to be different than everybody else out there. So we try to bring fresh and new ideas to help our clients retain, and more importantly, attract some of the key people that move the needle. And so sometimes with our clients, they may offer let's say a group long-term disability plan that might cap at $5,000 or $6,000, and that works for those rank and file employees. But what about the people that move the needle, the people that really impact the bottom line? And so my job is really easy. We have the information. We have the census information. We know what their benefits are. What I do is, as I gather that information, I send it on to Brady and his team. They do a complete evaluation of that, and try to bring ideas to help retain and attract those key employees and business owners. So it's really, I'd like to say it's really complicated. My job is easy. It's really to make the connections and introductions and provide the information so Brady and his team can do the evaluations.
Well, why wouldn't you just put them through underwriting, Charlie? Isn't that the easiest? I mean, hey, you had a few key people in there. Underwriting,
Yeah.
it's pretty easy, right?
Oh, sure. It's easy. How many hours are there in a day? There's 24 hours in a day. And, um, the reality is we have capacity challenges here at North Risk Partners. And there's so many things that has changed really since the advent of the ACA. Some refer to it as Obamacare, not trying to be political, but we're asked to be HR. We're asked to provide technology resources, compliance. Actually, in the state of Minnesota right now, we're beginning 1/1 of 26. They passed a Paid Family Medical Leave Act, and so oftentimes we're just we don't have the capacity and we don't have the resources internally to be able to deal with underwriting or even putting proposals together, having that technical knowledge. But we get that through the relationship that we have with E4.
Yeah, and again, the other part, you start going into underwriting, and we've had this discussion on cases, and typically when you're dealing with your top employees, they're not the 25-year-old who has no health history. It's usually that 50-year-old business owner or CEO or CFO who might be a little bit too short for their weight, might have a little bit of cholesterol issue, you name it, right? I mean, could have a back problem.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of things that that could go wrong during the underwriting process, and some of that, if we're dealing with buy-sell agreements, or that we can deal with because it's just a select group. But when you're talking about a few extra people, and showing them the concept of guarantee issue, it's like, hey, I mean, I guess we've had a few cases, and what's been your experience thus far with the process, and how labor intensive is it for the employer and the employee? So what's your experience been on the guarantee issue? Because I know you've experienced the
Yep.
fully underwritten side, and I think your comment was, why would I ever do this again?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, great question. And I don't know who our audience is, but I would encourage any of you to focus on employers or opportunities where we can go down to, is it 7, Brady, for the GSI?
5.
5.
You can go down to 5 lives.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I would highly, highly encourage you, not to say that you want to walk away from other opportunities less than that, but Brady and I are working with a client right now, and they've identified 3 people. And again, you can get discounts for 3 people, but it's a little bit more labor intensive. It does require some additional underwriting. Even with what we've discovered thus far, there can be exclusions, there could be ratings up on policies due to height and weight and things like that. So it just makes it a little bit more challenging to get it in place, and I'm still hopeful that we will. But I have a client that we partnered with that they probably have over 200 employees, and long story short is when we did the analysis of their LTD benefit, which capped at $5,000 or $6,000, we identified, I want to say it was at least 40 different employees that would be eligible for a guaranteed issue, and basically no underwriting. And so I provided the census to Brady and his team. They did the evaluation. They put the proposal together. They were also, we had a few different meetings with the client, because this is different, right? This is different than a traditional or core plan. And long story short, they loved it. We put it in place, and it's become a nice case. And to me, the last thing that I always look at is, how much am I going to get paid? I do
well,
like to get paid.
that's a value question, right? I mean, everybody likes to get paid. I mean, true, you work for it, but at the end of the day, you're working for your family or some other common goal. And so no, go ahead and finish that comment.
Yeah, no, so and the nice thing about it is that they continue to expand and grow. I mean, we probably, since we originally put it in place, I wouldn't be surprised if we added a minimum 5 to 10 new employees to this guaranteed issue plan. So obviously it wraps around their group disability plan, and it again gets that key employee
Yep.
whole compared to the rank and file. That at a minimum, if it's 60%, we at least get them there. But then when you incorporate the catastrophic and some of the other benefits that stack up on top of it, we can get closer to 100% income replacement. So it's been that one stands out. We have a few others in the works, and I have to be honest.
Why wouldn't they just increase the group LTD? I mean, I think that's the part is, the pitfalls of just increasing it. I mean, obviously, exposure and potential rates on and applying to everybody, but why would, again, if I was a benefit person, why would I say, well, heck, if you only have 6, why don't you put in 10?
I learned a long time ago, even when I first started out in the financial service business, really, if you want to provide a quality disability plan to anybody, it's really blending the benefits of a group LTD plan with the benefits of a individual plan, because they're not equal. And so there's many strengths under an individual plan. The problem with a group disability plan, it's only good while you're working at the employer. What happens when you leave? And so we've even had some employees that have left this client and had that option to be able to take it with them. And so there's a lot of value in combining both versus just, there's caps on group LTD plans. And so sometimes that, it might solve why you're working during your working years with that employer, but what happens when you leave? And we know that disability is on the individual basis is one of the most difficult insurance coverages that's hard to obtain, because you have to be pretty much squeaky clean.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's that thought of reward and retain.
Yep.
Again, 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of the employees.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at it and hey, let's provide that top plan to keep people, and to say their employers say, well, we don't treat our employees different. It's like, well, no, you do. I mean, right. So in the disability case, you talked about the reverse discrimination. It's like, yeah, you're treating your top employees worse than your, for lack of better words, rank and file employees. Is that equal? And then it's kind of having that conversation with the employer and showing them the solutions, and then obviously, the benefits of the individual, and typically the people you're talking to from a decision maker standpoint, they just happen to be in the top 5 on that census, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
It's kind of for smaller businesses, it's selfish, right? I mean, it's like, well, wait, we're right. You mean you're telling me I have a 16% replacement of my income?
Right.
That doesn't work for my family.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, excellent. Yeah. And it's, again, we've enjoyed the relationship and, putting things together, and, I guess, kind of closing it out, but closing question is, why would you recommend an advisor work with E4?
It's a great question. I learned, again, being in this business for 39 years, you can't be the jack of all trades, right? You got to figure out what you do well, and you need to stick to that. That doesn't mean that your clients still don't have other needs. And so I think it's really important to look at your business model, figure out what you do well. If you're a financial planner, again, it better than I do, but keeping your focus on what you do. And same thing with me as a employee benefit consultant, and that's what my niche is. That's what my specialty is. I do know, right? I do know through the relationship that we have with E4, all the different, these brew topics are phenomenal. The resources, getting out to the different, they just had an annual conference that I drove out to, and it's just fun to get out and learn different ideas and concepts that I can bring back to my client that just enhances the value. But, why work with E4? To me, it's simple, is that I don't have to know everything. I know enough to be dangerous. My job is to connect the dots, to make the introductions. It's really a partnership, and it's like an extension of what we do. of having a partner like E4. I provide the intel. Brady and his team, they do all the work. You know, they evaluate census information, they evaluate opportunities, they put the proposals together. They're available for pre-sale, during the sale, post-sale support. They're available to meet with clients, whether virtually or in person. I can't speak enough about the services and the resources that are available through E4. I've teased Brady and a little bit about some of their team members. I'd love to hire them, and they're really that good. And I know that E4 has built out their infrastructure and resources, and it adds a lot of value not only to me but to my clients, but to our organization as a company.
Well, appreciate those words, and I know we here at E4, view you guys as a partner. Again, whether we're on the call, I mean, it's a introduction. This is our panel, the executive benefit team. I mean, really, you view us as part of an extension, and when we work together, it's truly we're doing things as a representative of North Risk. And I think that's a key when we're working in a partnership. Again, appreciate your partnership and business, and working together. Whether we've had success in the guarantee issue, we've done the other stuff. We've done some buy sell, key person, other things, topics to bring to your clients. Because I think the one thing on the employee benefits side, there's one letter that can take your whole group away, right?
Absolutely.
That's the agent of record. When you're working with these type of ideas and bringing these ideas to your clients that other benefit advisors they become more sticky. I mean, I think that's true in your world and in our world. The more products you have with a client, the harder it is for somebody to come in and take them away.
Yep. Amen to that.
So excellent. Well, as we wrap up, I'd like to remind you that today's brew and our entire library are recorded and shared on the brew page on our website, www.e4.insurance. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with all brewcasts. They're released every Wednesday. Next week, we will start June's lineup with Annuity Awareness Month, and Doug Twitty, our Director of Annuities, and Josh Meester, Regional Vice President and Partner at E4 Insurance Services. They'll be answering the question, how do you position annuities for your clients? Again, thank you, everyone, and thanks, Charlie, for taking the time out of your schedule this morning. Look forward to working on more things together, and we'll see everybody next week on the brew. Thanks.